This call is now
Esta
being
es Global
recorded.
Talent. Usted tiene una llamada prepagada de
Robert.
un individuo encarcelado de la prisión estatal de Centinela, California. Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada. You have a prepaid call. You will not be charged for this. Gracias por utilizar Global Talent.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey, Robert, how's it going?
All right, man. I'm doing good. And yourself?
You know, I can't complain. You know, as long as I'm doing good, as long as
That's
these calls
right.
are nice and clean, then I'll definitely be doing great.
Oh, man, we be that much better, right? All right.
And you know, I want to go ahead and welcome you back to You Have a Collect Call. We're gonna be getting into Robert's third part of his journey. You know, through the CDCR. The last time we spoke, he left off and he was sharing the specifics of his case that landed him on third strike and his sentence, and pretty much we were just talking about that. And then I think the phone, I'm not sure if the phone ended up crapping out on us, but we did a pretty good run that day. I think we almost did 3 hours the last time we spoke.
Yeah, it was about 3 hours ago.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
We got into a little bit about like comparing other people that picked up life sentences, whether it was like for like shoplifting or a non-violent third offense. In your case, what would you consider your case, violent, non-violent? Where do you think it lands at?
Dude.
Okay, it cut out.
Okay. So here we are. We're back. Yeah.
Okay. So on your case, what would you consider it? Would you consider it a violent or a non-violent offense? All right.
Realistically speaking, it's a violent case. It was an assault. Can't minimize that. But I mean, under California law at the moment, it is considered a non-violent. It is considered a serious felony, but and that was just changed after 2017. But I was doing some research the other day, and it seems like they're trying to pass an assembly bill to make domestic violence a serious felony again.
Oh, that's interesting. And you know what? And from listening to our previous conversation, you touched on something that I found very, very interesting. Where people that have SA crimes, I don't want to say it because sometimes YouTube will flag those type of videos, but I find it odd that SA charges would be considered non-violent when you're probably doing one of the worst things that you could do to a person besides taking their life.
Yes. So
that
well, I mean, and that right there, it's a fine line, I guess you could say, because most SSA offenses would be considered violent due to the nature of the specific crime of what it entails, But I mean, there's just yeah, man. Like I said, I mean the whole penal code needs to be revised, and they really should try to sit down and distinguish what's what, man, because it's just like you have everybody just fit in one criteria, and when it comes to these sentencing schemes, man, it can be outrageous at times,
You know what? Let me ask you something. So when you went to court, you took your case all the way to the box because you pretty much didn't have a choice. You were gonna get.
I had no choice.
So whether you wanted to or not, you were gonna take it all the way, and it was gonna be what it was gonna be. Ultimately, when the jury ended up reading off, your guilty verdict, what was going through your mind?
What was going through my mind was, I mean, in hindsight, you know what I mean? I mean, I wasn't accepting the responsibility for my actions in. You know what I mean? I was still in denial. I was, still playing the victim role myself, and oh, poor Robert. But, and you know what I mean? I honestly thought I was going to get away. I thought I had a fight, um, being that a lot of statements.
All right.
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
So Robert, if you can hear me, the phone cut off. And for those of you that are listening right now, the GTL system, if you're not aware, it's really finicky right now. To say the least. Okay, so you're back. I can hear you. I can hear you now.
All right. Yeah. So like I said, I thought I actually had a fighting chance because like I said back then, I was still in denial. I wasn't taking responsibility for my actions, and due to a lot of testimony, we were able to punch a lot of holes in the testimony, and we're trying to go on grounds of impeachment on behalf of the prosecution side. And so when I heard the guilty verdicts, it was like, damn, okay, so they got me, but again, like I've stated before in my interviews, they always throw the book at you or say they're going to throw the book at you for your actions, but you don't really know what's going to happen until that day of sentencing. So, yeah, man, it was just a lot of anxiety, the wheels in your mind are just going 1,000 miles per hour. Like, okay, damn, what's going to happen now? What am I going to do? And it's just, just automatically assuming the worst. Like, damn, like, I could spend the rest of my life in prison. Then of course the pity comes in, and then like, damn, why did I do what I did, and just those types of feelings.
And let me ask you, at that time, or even reflecting on it now, what do you think would have been an appropriate and fair sentence in your case?
Well, James, like I've always told you, you know what I mean, and I think it's important for the listeners to understand too, is that I've always felt that for my actions I deserve to be punished. You know what I mean? What I did was wrong. I'm ashamed of it. I'm not proud of it. What I believe a fair sentence would be is, I believe I should have got the minimum term for, the minimum amount of time for each of the felonies that I was convicted of doubled up. Because yes, I was a prior convicted felon. So with me catching this other case, I felt I should have been sentenced as a second striker, and just the total charges should have been doubled up, which I believe my appellate attorneys told me that I should have been facing the maximum of 17 years.
All right, so the phone went dead again.
Yeah, you cut out. Now I can't hear you.
Okay, well now I can hear you. Hopefully, we're back. Okay, so now you went dead. All right, so it seems like
so we're back. All right, yeah. So did I cut off, or it was just you?
You cut off a bit also.
Okay, so where did I leave off at?
So you were talking about your appellate, I guess an appellate lawyer.
Oh yeah, so the appellate attorney told me that my maximum sentence on this case should have been 17 years at 85%.
All right. So, and do you feel like if they would have told you at that time, when you were going through the court, and at the last moment they would have offered you 17 years, is that something that you would have signed for?
Oh, more than likely, yes. Of course, I would have definitely signed for that, because I knew there was a definitive light at the end of that tunnel. Not so much as where, you got to go through the whole process of being found under the scrutiny of the parole board, and so, yeah, of course, I would have jumped on that deal.
And what were the jailhouse lawyers telling you? What were they advising you, or what opinions were they giving you if you recall any opinions that they were sharing with you at that time, as far as like how you should handle your case? Because everybody has an idea of how everything should play out.
Well, honestly, like I really there was a handful of individuals that knew what I was fighting the case for, but honestly, just because of the stigma of the charges and you know what I mean, me being ashamed of myself and it really wasn't a spoken thing that I would go and ask people opinions for.
Yeah.
So, like I said, it was just more kept to myself besides the individuals that knew or whatever. But and so I mean, I guess I could say I really wasn't trying to take advice on that or was offered any useful advice for that type of situation.
And eventually, when you did end up going to prison, did anybody, was it ever an issue for anybody? Did anybody bring it to your attention or question you overall your case?
Oh yes, well of course. I mean, when I came up here, I was questioned amongst the fellas, and it was just like, hey, what's going on, like, and uh, around that time, I guess, word was coming down from the higher ups that, they was considered unacceptable, and basically like in the politic world, it was evaluated on a case.
All right, so we just cut out right there. The last word that I caught was case. I'm assuming you were going to say case by case basis, and you still haven't come back. So whenever you come back, just let me know, and then we could go ahead and take off from there. And I definitely okay. You're back.
Yeah.
So we can hear. Can you hear me, Robert?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. So the last thing that I heard before you cut off was a case by case basis.
Yeah. Yeah. So it was just, what I mean, depending on like, like again, not to minimize my actions of that day and me doing what I did, but I mean it wasn't to the extent that most people who have backgrounds of domestic violence cases were subjecting their wives or girlfriends to.
And once you got found guilty, what happened to the relationship with you and I'm not sure, I'm assuming she was your girlfriend at that time?
Yes. Yeah, so I mean throughout the duration of the case and me fighting it and all that, we had some communication. I would reach out to her and just in hopes of not so much of, well, first and foremost, to apologize for my actions and in a sense, thinking back on it, it was selfish of me to ask her to forgive me, because I was wrong and I shouldn't have reacted the way that I did, but it was more in a sense of trying to maintain the relationship for the sake of our daughter, in a sense, and again, reflecting on that today, I mean, it was selfish of me to ask her after what I had put her through to basically like put that to the side in order for me to maintain a relationship with my daughter, when that should have been my focal point the whole time, instead of me, reacting out of jealousy and anger and me placing my hands on her,
Yeah. So you get sentenced, you go back to the unit, and ultimately you end up going to reception. What's on your mind? What are you thinking? Are you thinking that you're gonna change your life, or did you what were your thoughts at that time?
Le queda un restante de 60 segundos.
Well, honestly, like the day I got sentenced, while I was in the county jail, I was what they considered in San Diego County permanent ADSEG, and I was placed in
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
behind.
All right. So if you could hear me, Robert, if you want, we could just go ahead and end this call because it's about to end anyways. We got about 20 seconds. You know, the call went dark, and we could go hopefully start off on a fresh one. And the fresh one, you know what? The sound quality of this call is great. It's just the only thing is that it keeps on, you know, going in and out here and there. And from what I'm hearing, you know, it's a constant thing right now that happens around this time. So hopefully it gets a little bit it gets a little better, you know, throughout this phone call. And just to give you guys a heads up, tomorrow, what's tomorrow? Tomorrow is Tuesday. So tomorrow I'll probably do a live, and then on Wednesday I won't be doing a live, and then I'll probably be back on Thursday. So I'm gonna be taking one day off. I am gonna be taking a day off, but it's not gonna be really a day off because I'm gonna be out and about, you know, for this, you know, for what I'm currently doing, you know, on YouTube. So hopefully you know, I'm able to get that, you know, that that content, you know, out to you guys as soon as possible. And right now we're pretty much just waiting for Robert, you know, to reconnect with us, and we can go ahead and continue with his journey into the California Department of Corrections. And what's up to ICEMAN? I appreciate you tapping in. Did you just get off of work, or are you still currently at work? And for anybody that's listening to you know, this conversation, you know, shout out to y'all, you know, all of you. Weather's been oh, there we go.
This call is now being recorded.
Global Link. Usted tiene una llamada prepagada de
Robert.
un individuo encarcelado en de la prisión estatal de Centinela, California. Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada. You have a prepaid call. You will not be charged for this call. Para aceptar esta llamada, diga o oprima ahora el 5. Gracias por utilizar Global Link.
Hello, Robert.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
the last thing that we heard right before the phone went dark was that you were placed on permanent ADSEG.
Yes. Yeah. So in the county jail when I got sentenced, I was in permanent ADSEG, and I was in permanent ADSEG due to my choices of me participating in jailhouse politics. And so, the day of my sentencing, I came back to an empty cell because I was single cell at the time, and you know, just reality set in, like you know, trying to
All right, so you
digest the fact that I was given a 34 life sentence. What am I gonna do? Like, you know, then of course, again, you know, what should have been my first thoughts before even committing this crime was like, you know, what about my kids? You know, what about my family? You know, what's gonna happen? And you know, so I dealt with that for like a day or two, and then
all right, Robert, if you could hear me, then you went dark again, and hopefully the audio reconnects, and we're able to, you know, go on through your journey. And okay,
am
you're
I back on? You hear?
Yep. Or yeah, you were there for a second, and it went dark again. So anyhow, so yeah, so tomorrow, what is it? Tomorrow, yeah, tomorrow night I'm gonna be heading out of town, and I won't be back. I went. Oh, the license said I went part time, so only hours per week. So 3 days off: Sunday, Monday, and Friday. Sunday. Oh man, you got that, man. You got that lovely schedule right there, man. You know, man, you got that whole weekend off. Man, that's what's up, man. You know, congratulations. That's definitely the dream right there. Yeah, my work hours, I try to keep them at least either 20 to 30 hours a week, just so I could, maintain and, remain, somewhat stable. But, if I get any less, I'm okay with that, because I'd rather be at home, I mean, I don't know anybody that loves to be at work. I mean, unless you got like a real fantastic job, but, I would be lying to you if I would be telling you that I enjoy my job and, I love, being at work anytime that I do go in. But I will tell you what I do love is not being at work. I definitely love that. Being able to do whatever I want with my free time, and it gives me time, to do this, jump on these calls and whatnot, and do whatever I want with my time. And I think that's what life is, should be about, at least in my eyes. I think there's some people out there that that believe that they should be working 60 to 80 hours a week. Yeah, that's not my that's definitely not my what I would call a good time, or what I see myself doing for the rest of my life. Definitely a drag. I'd rather be out and about and enjoying the world and seeing what's out there. And Robert, you can hear me. We still can't hear you. And as soon as you come back in and I hear your microphone on your end, then I'll go ahead and notify you. But as of right now, we are not, or your voice is definitely not coming over to this side. And man, if that is the case, man, I know normally when these calls go out, he won't be able to call me back for another, what do you call it, like another maybe 10 minutes, because we're only 5 minutes into this phone call. But tonight,
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
Later on in the evening, we might be having Silas coming on. He had reached out to me earlier on, asking me if we could go on a live, but unfortunately I wasn't home when he sent me that message. So, and then I gotta go get my car serviced. So I'll run over to the dealership, get my car serviced, and hopefully we're able to run call when we get back home. And Face/, SoCal, saludo James and Robert. I don't remember meeting Robert on the collabs, but mucho gusto. GTO is really sucking bad. It is. I'm telling you, man. Like anytime I do these lives, it's really nerve wracking because I have no control over it. It was up if GTO offered. And maybe this is what they're going to start doing. Maybe they're going to start offering a priority line where if you pay like a certain subscription per month, like all your calls are going to be guaranteed. No blackouts, when you sign up for this service. So, or maybe I just gave them the idea right now. It's kind of going to be like, like TSA pre-check, when you go to the airport. If you pay for that service, you just get to go through. You don't have to wait. You don't have to take your shoes off. GTO is gonna be offering the GTO pre-check service where they're gonna charge us like a month, maybe a weekly fee, because there's some greedy bastards. They'll probably charge us a weekly fee, maybe hourly. Maybe it'll be like you pay for 60 minutes and you get priority phone calls, and all your calls are guaranteed to go through for the very low price of $19.99. Which is an outrage. They would do something like that. All these companies, they're offering services like that. Even I think Toyota and BMW, when it comes to like doing like remote start, and I think BMW, they're offering a monthly fee services when it comes to like Apple CarPlay, which is bananas. It's like I'm not trying to sign up for any of that stuff. I want to pay one time. It should be included with the price of the car, and that should be it. But and I'm willing to donate to direct calls if that's an option for the sake of better. No, you know what? SoCal, that's it's not an option. That's what it is. It's like there is no other option. This is it. They're offering these phone calls. They got a blank check from the state of California, and you know what? The only other thing I could probably think of that they could do is if they could jump on the phones on the wall. Maybe that is an option. I'm gonna double check with Robert when he does come back on and see if he has any feedback on the phones on the wall. And I'm sure if the phones on the wall are working a lot better than the tablets, I'm pretty sure there has to be lines on those phones, because I'm pretty sure a lot of these dudes, they're trying to, reach out to their families, their wives, their sanchas, their girlfriends, sancha 1, 2, and 3. And I'm pretty sure they're hogging up these phones, to, be able to, maintain, these relationships. So, but I'll double check, maybe that is an option as far as, getting on the wall phone, and maybe those phones will work better than these tablets, because the tablets pretty much, they're working. It's kind of like, our phones, when you download an app, and let's say like you download an app like Second Line or a VoIP phone line, which is I think it's voice over internet, which is not a traditional phone line. If you guys are familiar with that, this has been like it's been going on for like the last 20 years and whatnot. And I think like the biggest one that everybody should know about would be like Magic Jack, where you plug it into like your computer, the USB port, then you could plug in a phone line. So it's kind of like that, the tablets, the service that they're running. But obviously on GTL side is definitely no bueno. And Fishler writes, let me see, James, do you know anyone that's about to get out? Let's get these gentlemen a career, and we can blog about it. That's what I'm talking about right there. Now we're talking about that. Fishler, SoCal. I like the way you think. And you know what? And right now that you mentioned that, I know I was supposed to give you a call sometime last week, and or send you a message. I'll reach out to you sometime today before the night's over, and I want to share something with you, and I definitely like I like your vision right there, man. So okay, so we're currently 9 minutes into this call, and what sucks is that even if I terminate this call right now, the system is still gonna take it as like we're still connected on this call. So we have to write out this whole 15-minute phone call. So we got another 5 minutes before the system considers this call to be terminated. Once it's considered terminated on the GTL side, then they are able to place another call. And that's a cool thing about like Jesse and David, that if this does happen, like let's say we're in the middle of a call and it does go, it does black out like this, in David's and Jesse's case, each of them has a tablet, so they're able to, if one doesn't work, then they could go ahead and jump on the next. But for like a lot of our other interviews that you do jump on here, like Javi and stuff, it's not an option, because like Javi and Silas, they're single celled, so they don't even have an option, like if they had a celly, to borrow their celly's tablet and whatnot. So and Robert, I'm not sure. I don't know. I think he might be. I think he might have a celly, but that's not an option because his celly. I have no idea who his celly is. And SoCal puts, maybe we can get a silverware set so everyone can hook up their antennas. Get out the cucharas, the tenedores, get out the tin foil. If anybody has any antenna crack pipes or any metal crack pipes, and maybe they could throw that in with the cucharas and the tenedores, and man, start building up an antenna. Man, I've been telling Javi to get on that, but man, he's definitely slipping on that. We need somebody that knows what they're doing, besides GTL, because GTL doesn't know what they're doing. And you know what? I was looking up their contract with the state, and I think they're locked into a contract with the state. I want to say until I think the earliest is going to end is 2025 or maybe 2026 before the state will take new bids, and it's even remotely even possible, for somebody else, to actually come in. But with that, with ICEMAN the other day, he said he had Googled GTL, which actually it piqued my interest, and I Googled, I did a little bit of research, aka Google, and GTL is the biggest company that offers this type of service. They've been in the game for over 30 years, and they don't have like these other companies like Securus, and I think there's another one called IC Solutions. They're nowhere near the size that GTL is at. Man, they definitely got a lot of facilities on contract, and they're providing these services. So SoCal, the tour you did with Javi was golden, bro. It gives our friends the opportunity to see the free world and help state on positive paths, man. Yeah, and it definitely, it definitely does. I want to do so. I have some other things that I want to do, like to different places that I want to, I want to share with them. That I want to do. As a matter of fact, I did one with Silas. We did a tour around the college campus, which I need to get around. I should probably, if I have some time today, I'll go ahead and edit it a bit. It doesn't even require that much editing. I just gotta like do a side by side shot, rearrange the screen, and then I could upload it. So yeah, I'll get around that. I'll get around to doing that today. And with Silas.
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
All right, so we got 2 more minutes before this call terminates. We're at 13 minutes and some change. So with Silas, I kind of we were at a local community college on Salt Lake. It was the next day after we had gone to the zoo with Javi, and I pretty much did we did a 15-minute video call, and I kind of took him around, the campus. It wasn't open, it wasn't the weekend, but we did have like some soccer players or some young gentlemen right there, playing soccer. And then also there was a softball game going on at the time when we walked around, which was cool because Silo was able to hear.
Le queda un restante de 60 segundos.
He was able to hear all the cheering in the background, from all the like the parents or family members that were there, cheering on their kids, and it was a trip because it was a girls softball game, and so you could hear them all cheering and saying like singing off cadence and whatnot. Definitely a trip. So there it is. The call went ahead and terminated. So hopefully Robert, he's able to call us back in the next few moments or so. Hopefully he was keeping track of when he would be eligible to place a new phone call. But maybe what I was thinking about was maybe doing one around the airport, doing a little tour around the airport. I'm gonna check if anybody's available for. Oh no, you know what? I had double checked with Joe because I actually wanted him to jump on a video call today or tomorrow, and he told me there was modified program today, so they're not. I don't think they're gonna have day room today or tomorrow. So maybe Wednesday, maybe on Wednesday, I'll be able to do a video visit. I think I had set up with him to do a video visit yesterday, but I didn't have the opportunity to actually do it just because I had something else come up last minute, so we weren't able to do that. And then officially our SoCal put, that's good stuff, James. It gives hope and change from the everyday life. Yeah, I know. I mean, I know if I was incarcerated, I would want to get out of my norm at least. It's with these video calls, kind of the way I see them is they're able to look out a window and see the interactions and what's happening outside in the real world, or what we call the real world. Just because they're incarcerated, the world didn't stop. It keeps on going, and it's evolving, and I'm pretty sure it's way different than the way they remember it, when they went into the system. Javi went into the system 1993, man. In 1993 I think I was 12 years old, and I was probably in in 6th grade. I was still in elementary school. In 1992, the LA riots had just kicked off. So, just what's happening, in the last 3 decades, it's way different. I could look back and think of all the things a lot of things that have happened, over the years, like that. The 92 riots. Then in 1999, we had the terrorist attack right there in New York. And then I'm pretty sure in between 92 and 99, there was all kinds of other, attacks that had happened. I'm pretty sure that one I'm not sure, that one happened in the 80s or in the 90s. That one where they, they drove that big ass, van, hooked up and they let it go at the Twin Towers. And I'm not talking about Twin Towers in LA or County Jail. I'm talking about the real Twin Towers, the ones that they had in New York back in back in the day, before they got, they got blown to smithereens. Oh, damn. Hey, Iceman. Man, hey, gracias. Highly appreciated, man. 50 smackaroonies. Man, hey, thank you, man. I really, I really appreciate that. Man, I'm definitely, at a loss of words right now. And here we go. And who do we have? Let me see.
This call is now being recorded. Usted tiene una llamada prepagada de
Robert.
un individuo encarcelado en de la prisión estatal de Centinela, California. Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada. You have a prepaid call. You will not be charged for this call. Para aceptar esta llamada, diga o oprima ahora el 5. Gracias por utilizar Global Tel Link.
Hello, Robert.
Yes.
Man,
Yeah,
Robert.
man, I don't know what was going on. I kept on trying to call back, and it kept on telling me that I have a call in progress.
Yeah, no, I already knew that was gonna happen. Yeah. So it does that. It does that a lot. With these phone calls that I do, the system will think that we're in the middle of a phone call, even though we're not, and you have to wait the whole 15 minutes before we could reconnect. Yeah. So I don't even think you could try rebooting your tablet. That none of that's gonna work. You have to wait. You're pretty much in jail for 15 minutes.
Oh. Yeah, I know, because I was even trying to text you, and I couldn't even access my email account.
Oh man. Well,
Yeah.
anyways, where do we? I don't even remember where we left off. I was over here trying to juggle balls over here. Trying to entertain the crowd we got here. I don't even know what I'm talking about. So, but I'm not sure where we left off at.
Yeah, so we were left off at I was talking about when I came back from sentencing.
Oh, that's right. Yep.
Yeah. So when I come back from sentencing, like I said, I was in that sick, and so you know what I mean. Being in the cell by myself, it just gave me time to just try to digest the 34 to life sentence, and like I said, just thinking about, oh man, now what about my kids? What about my family? What am I gonna do? Am I gonna make it? Just like damn, life in prison. That's not something that you think about every day, And so being that I was already partaking in.
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
I'm just gonna dive head deep into that, and when I got upstate, that's what I eventually did.
And like what do those activities consist of?
Well, I mean, it was just, participating as far as I used to be like shot call in a sense, I was in charge of certain units. You know what I mean? Checking other dudes' paperwork. You know what I mean? Collecting drug money. You know what I mean? Dealing on behalf of the cause, or what we thought was the cause. You know what I mean? Ordering assaults. Stuff of that nature.
But and then these positions, right? They're highly sought after, right? So there's a lot of people that are that are willing to do whatever they got to, to move in a position like that, right?
Yes. Yeah. So I mean, just how I came into play is just what I mean. Coming across the right individuals that were already in a sense involved, and just having them, what I mean, see you for who you were and how much you were willing to participate in You know what I mean? And then you just get your name gets passed along, and you know what I mean. You start interacting with other people, and next thing you know, I mean, you're put in these positions.
And when you obtain a position like that, at any point did you ever think like, man, like this is like I'm way over my head, right? Like in this position I'm in.
Well, of course, because I mean, thinking back on it, I was always advised against it, and but I mean, when you're in the heat of that moment, you know what I mean. You're not thinking about the consequences that come with playing that part of the game. That like damn, like okay, yeah, but you just that that spotlight of having the respect, the responsibility, and just having that you know what I mean, the individuals around you, like, man, you know what I mean, you're in this position, so we're listening to you, we're willing to do whatever you need us to do, and you know what I mean, it's kind of it draws you in, you know, and but nah, I mean, I wasn't thinking about nah, I'm in too deep. I was just thinking about how do I get farther, what can I do, would I be able to make it higher up the chain, you know.
Yeah, yeah. Man, yeah, because I mean, it is a huge responsibility because in essence, you have a lot of people's lives, in their hands.
uh Yeah, you do. You do, and then that's why I mean, in that game too, like not only do they seek out or look for individuals who have the heart, but you also got to have the head on your shoulders to learn how to be, you know what I mean, diplomatic in a lot of senses when it comes to, you know what I mean, dealing with the other races, you know what I mean, dealing with you know what I mean, the situations that happen within your own race, et cetera, you know.
And let me ask you, like on a normal day, what would like your activities or your responsibilities require?
Well, in a typical day, you know what I mean, in that lifestyle, it's just, in depending on where you're at, you know what I mean, whether it's the county jail. I mean, okay, we'll use the county jail as an example. So, you know what I mean, you're confined. You're not out so much in the open like you are in a prison yard. It's, you're maintained mostly in the building. Some county jails have an outside recreation yard. Some of them are inside. So, you know what I mean, you just make sure that, you know what I mean, all the other fellas, you know what I mean, are up. You know what I mean? Everybody has to be up. You know what I mean? Basically on watch status. You know what I mean? All the guys that are coming in, you know what I mean? You're checking their paperwork. You're checking to see if they brought anything in, like as far as dope. You know what I mean? Kites that need to be addressed. Um, let's see. Interacting with the other guys that are in the other modules or the other housing units. You know what I mean? See what's going on over there. Um, Making sure the fellas are working out. You know what I mean? Because it's always, you know, a constant state of like war. You know what I mean? You always got to be prepared. Um, and then just playing that position of power. You know what I mean? Like putting chess pieces in place for any given situation. And a lot of times, you know what I mean, it's a backstabbing game. You know what I mean? It's just okay. Well, how am I going to campaign against another individual who I may not like or the other fellas don't like, and it's a dirty game.
And let me ask you. So during this time, was your mindset already? Were you already like, man, that's it, I'm never gonna get out of prison? Because at that time when you got that sentence handed down, you had like I don't know, it was like a 1% or the percentage rate of you coming home. It was like you probably had a better chance at winning the lottery. Were you just thinking, I'm
Oh
gonna?
yeah, hell yeah, 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 I was thinking I was never getting out. So I was just gonna be like I said, like I stated earlier, like damn, okay, so I'm involved. Okay, how am I gonna make it just higher up in the food chain? You know.
And at what point did you realize, like, man, there is a possibility for me to actually, come home, redeem myself from this life sentence?
Well, this was years later on, man. So like, keep in mind I caught this case in 2008. So up up until about 2012, that's when you know what I mean, things started going south for me as far as playing the prison politics. Um, I ended up getting getting myself caught up in the game, and like I said, you know what I mean. It's a campaign game, and you know what I mean. Some of the fellas, you know what I mean, didn't like things that I was doing, so it was ordered that I had to get assaulted, so I got assaulted. Um, so when I really started to disassociate myself and you know what I mean, just do my own thing. It was years later on, probably about 2017, and that's when you know what I mean, this law changed, and I seen the opportunity to get out sooner, and that's when it hit me like, okay, well, you know what, this opportunity's really here. I need to start making the necessary changes that I need to make in order for me to get out one day. Because the prison politics was in my past at this point, and I wasn't involved. You know what I mean? I was still doing dumb shit in a sense, as far as, you know what I mean, like getting high and doing a lot of other nonsense, but you know what I mean, that part was out the way, and so it was just, you know what I mean, like time to just man up in a sense and stop playing the prison bullshit, and you know what I mean, try to get on this train to freedom.
Do you recall who was the first person that you saw go home from a life sentence?
Let me see.
Like in the early, like in
it damn, man, like shit at that time, like it really wasn't. Well, actually, yeah, you know what, it was a guy who had been down maybe like close to 30 years and was just getting shot down, and then like I said, around 2017 when they made all these necessary changes due to that Proposition 57, you started seeing Governor Brown just started giving people opportunities, and for us in the lifer community, that's when it was like, wow, like it's for real, like that door is ajar, and it's just like, you started seeing more and more and more getting the opportunity, and that's when I was like, okay, like I said, okay, I need to start making these choices. Either I'm gonna continue to fuck up and continue in the path that I am of nowhere, you know what I mean, getting shot all up and down California, ending up in ADSEG and shoot terms, or am I going to get on this boat that's going to possibly get me out of prison one day, And that's what I decided to do.
And what kind
I
of
mean,
what kind of things were you doing, to change those habits that you previously had?
Well, I mean, again, you know what I mean? Like I said, I like to use a thing that we use in here is called the change model, and there's like 5 stages of change, and one of them is contemplation. So that was the stage I was at. Like I was noticing that I had a problem and that I wanted to change, but of course, you know what I mean, when you're involved in a lifestyle, you got to pass, where a lot of us, because at one time we were insecure, and you know what I mean, we all have big egos. We were afraid to take the necessary steps because we're worried about, you know what I mean, what our peers were going to think of us, like, oh, this dude's going soft, or, you know, this dude's a chump because he wants to change, he wants to do good, because back in the day, you know what I mean, when we would look at the guys.
Le queda un restante de 60 segundos.
Not getting in trouble, we were like it's like back in the days, you know, when you were young, you know what I mean, with the jocks and all that, all them dudes are punks, you know what I mean, we're running amok, and you know what I mean, we thought we were the cool.
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
So of course, so when I first started out, it was like, okay, I know I got to start making these right choices, but it wasn't coming as easy as most people would necessarily think, especially in this world of prison. And so, you know, when it started for me, it was just first and foremost, just staying out of trouble as far as like not getting written up for the dumb shit, you know what I mean? Not getting caught with like prison wine, you know, not getting caught with cell phones no more, you know.
All right, so our 15-minute call just came to an end. He should be calling us back shortly, and then we'll go ahead and, you know, continue with his, or he could continue with him, you know, sharing, you know, his journey with us. And for Fish Lair SoCal, man, hey, that offer that you made right there about going big tuna fishing, man, I would love it. I'll definitely love it, but I'm willing to catch him, but I'm not willing to eat him. I'm not big on fish and whatnot, but man, I would totally enjoy that you know, that whole experience, you know, being out, you know, in the ocean and reeling them in, and man, I'll be feeling like I'm on that one show.
This call is now being recorded.
Global Telling. Usted tiene una llamada prepagada de un individuo encarcelado en la prisión estatal de Centinela, Centinela, California. Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada. You have a prepaid call. You will not be charged. Gracias por utilizar Global Telling.
All right, we're back.
All right. So where to cut me off at?
So where you were kind of talking about not you know, not getting any more write-ups, and pretty much just changing your life.
Yeah. Yeah. So you know what I mean. So it's just those little things, and for us, man, in here, like, you know, those little things are really big steps. And of course, like I said, you know, it's because, you know, we don't want to be looked upon as, oh, this dude's a chump, or, you know, he's scary, and that's just a warped thing of mine, a warped mind frame that I used to have. Like, instead of just, you know, like, look, I need to do this, and this is what I'm gonna do because I want to get out of prison. Like I said again, man, to repeat myself, it doesn't come easy. You know what I mean? Like, making those necessary steps was hard. And so, you know, after that, then it just started to, you know what I mean, having the need to reach out to those individuals that I've seen doing good, and just started, you know what I mean, befriending them, and started asking them, like, hey, man, like, you know, what is it you guys are doing? Like, what is these groups, and what does it entail? Like, you know, how do I get involved? And you know what I mean? Then I started asking these guys about, you know what I mean, like, what made them want to change, and, you know what I mean, what keeps them on track. And, you know, so after having these conversations with these guys, you know, it's just like, okay, so now I got sort of the play in mind. Now I just really got to put it together for myself. And, you know, one of the things that is very necessary for somebody in prison to change is having to disassociate yourself from guys that you have been knowing for years, or you hang around with, that are basically like enablers to everything, as far as, like, you know what I mean, shooting dope, you know what I mean, getting in trouble, you know what I mean, just madness. So, you know, disassociating from those individuals, and just taking on the real responsibility of being an individual and not a follower anymore. You know, that's what it took for me to really start taking it serious and like, okay, well, once I start doing this, okay, then you know what? Then came the groups. Then you know, of course, the hate, you know, dealing with the hate. You know, people are like, oh man, like just a lot of negative talk because individuals in here don't really got hope. So when they see somebody like trying to get their shit together, you have them, oh man, like you're doing it for nothing. Like they're not gonna let you out. You know, like look at these dudes that are finally getting out. They've done 25, 30 years. So it's like, why are you trying to do good now when they're not going to let you go home for 20-something more years anyway? And so, man, it was stepping stones. It was stepping stones, James, like I said. You know what I mean? You got all this negativity around you when you're trying to separate yourself from the pack. It's hard, man. It was hard.
And what kind of things were they telling you? Because I'm sure people are making like little smart remarks and saying little things here and there. What were they saying, and how would you react to things being said? Because nobody likes to be talked about. So how would you handle a situation like that?
Well, you know, I mean, of course, you know what I mean. Like, you know, you would have the guys that like, come on, dude, like, you know, you really think with your history and your background that they're gonna let you out? You know, like, you got so much shit against you because, like I said, man, when I was still really heavy in the game on at the start of this sentence, I had picked up back-to-back shoe terms. I was in the for assaults on inmates, you know, weapons, all that type of crap, and you know, that was a big thing back in 2017 when they changed these laws that really made me starting to take rehabilitation serious and all that. There was a certain criteria that you had to meet, and that's the reason why I was getting a lot of that back talk, was because when the criteria was coming out, I was originally excluded, and it took I was originally excluded due to criteria because it stated that you couldn't have like disciplinary actions against you more than 5 years. If you had something within 5 years, you were excluded. If you had certain in-house offenses, such as like what we consider the most serious in prison is a Division A1, which entails like, you know, murder, attempted murder, weapons, stabbings, things like that. Like, I mean,
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
I got some of those charges on my prison jacket, you know? And so when these dudes were like, you know, fucking, oh, and then right before that I had just gotten caught with a cell phone. So they were like, you know, dude, like, you're not meeting this criteria, so like, why are you even gonna try? You know, like, just that type of hate, those types of things. Like, again, you know, they're making people wait 25, 30 years to let them out. Like, what makes you think you're going to be the exception? You know, and yeah, that was the fucked up shit they would say, bro. And how I would react was like, you know what I mean? At times I believed them. You know what I mean? And it made me it made me just doubt myself more. You know, and then there was times I would think so too, like, you know, what the fuck am I doing this for? Like, these dudes are right. Like, you know, I'm barely fucking not even 10 years into my sentence, and this law's changing, and like, what makes you really think that, you know, you're going to be an exception and you're going to get out earlier than most of these other dudes who have 25, 30 years in? And so, you know, of course, I mean, you know, I think we can all relate at one point in time. You know, when you get in your own head, bro, like, you know, you could be your worst and most harsh critic, and that'll just cause you to spiral at times, or just want to just give up in a sense, like fuck it all, like, I'm doing this for nothing, ain't nothing gonna change, and so yeah, that was the shit, how I would deal with it, what was being said, you know.
You know what? And yeah, I think you're right about that. It's definitely, it's a lot easier, to go with the pack and, continue. Because right there in prison, I mean, you could get write-ups without even trying. You could, cop could just look into
Yeah.
your cell and he could see you covered up your window, or you have something up on the wall, a picture, and they could write you up, and that's it. Your good streak is gone. It's down the drain. So, with
Yep.
somebody having
Yep.
that control over you,
Mhm.
it sucks. Because a lot of people, they don't. It's easier just to go against the grain. Like screw that. Like,
It is.
and then too, I mean, a lot of these people that are making these, or that were making these comments, maybe they didn't have anything to come out to, because at the end of the day, you really don't know, what their personal lives are like. How many people they burnt, if their family have disowned them, or maybe they don't even have anybody. So yeah, to them, it would be true. For them to come out is like, who are they gonna come out to? They don't have anybody. They have no kids. They don't have a
Yeah.
mom. They don't have a dad. And so shit, like for staying in prison, I'm sure for some it's an option because they have nothing to come out to. But somebody like
Yeah.
you, and I mean,
That's very
you
true.
got kids, you got your mom, and you have family that I'm sure would love for you to come, be home like right now. So
Of course. Yeah.
I think the way they
Yeah.
think, it's all in the eye of the beholder, because everybody wants different things, and some people don't
Mhm.
have anything to look forward to. But
Yep.
and yeah, and so how long have you been on this path for so far?
Yeah. So like I said, I originally started in 2017. Um, that's when I started making the necessary changes, and so 2018 is when I really, was like getting into the necessary things and being able to identify my my dysfunction and my character traits. You know what I mean? Coming to terms with the defects in my character. Like I said, fucking, and knowing which groups I needed to take to get to the underlying uh the underlying issues, you know? And so since 2017, dude, like, I've been on this path. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to sit here and say that I haven't had my bumps in the road, because I have. Um, but it's like, you know what I mean? I've come across a lot of individuals in here who, in a sense, I could say, have been giving me the guidance that I need, and but I mean, I like to give myself a pat on the back too for being able to just man up and, what I mean, with those issues that held me back and had me living in that warped mind frame for so long. Because it's like, nobody, especially for us in here who are incarcerated, one thing that I've come to learn in these groups is that, no matter the race, we're all can identify with each other in one way or another. Our upbringings, the lack of a father figure or any parental figure, just having that criminal mind frame embedded in us at such a young age. And you know, from learning, from having that learned behavior at such a young age, it's hard to break, James. And especially in this world behind these walls, that's all there is. It's just negativity. It's just constant violence, negativity. You know what I mean? Pessimist. Um, even dealing with it, you know what I mean? Like a lot of these individuals who are supposed to come in here, whether it's staff or, correctional officers, You know what I mean? Even just the sneers and the jokes that they make when they see individuals, you know what I mean, trying to change their lives and you know what I mean, make the right decisions. And so like, you know, that right there too, if you're really not ready, that'll really throw you off your path, you know. So it's like you got to constantly learn how to maneuver through the negativity, of course the hate, you know what I mean, the doubt. And you know, it sucks too because even in our desires to change, you know, there's been hesitancy amongst even our own family, like not taking us serious, and that comes back to us too because you know what I mean. We've used manipulation tactics on them in the past, and so they're like, nah, this come on, man, like you're trying to tell me you're doing good and you're staying out of trouble, and nah, like we ain't buying that shit, you know, and that's how you know, for me, and I mean, I'm sure a lot of other guys too, you know, they regained this family. And like you said, you know what I mean, a lot of them had lost relationships in their path of criminality. And but it's also brought people back into their lives by them making these necessary changes. You know what I mean? And doing good.
Le queda un restante de 60 segundos.
So yeah, so let's see.
And if
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
so, I know we got a few
Are you there?
seconds. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah. Oh,
I know we got a few
yeah, I can.
seconds left on this phone call. If you want to go ahead and call back, we'll start off on a fresh one. And after this one, so we'll do
Yeah.
one more, and then we'll call it we'll call it a night. And I think we man, you know, at first it was bumpy, but now you know we're riding that horse, and hopefully you know it maintains the way it has. You know, I appreciate this
Yes.
this
Yeah.
call quality right now.
Yep. Yeah. So I'll call you back right now.
All right, perfect. All right, so hey man, you know, thank you, thank you. I really appreciate everybody that's in the chat and anybody that's listening. You know, and a big shout out to to ICEMAN, for dropping that 50 on my books, and then also Fish Slayer. I really appreciate sending over that 20. Oh, and then we also got a 9.99 for Robert, so I'll go ahead and let him know right now as soon as he gets back on, and I'm sure he'll be delighted. I know if I was incarcerated and somebody shot a few dollars my way, then I'll be I'll be happy, to say the least. Because when you're incarcerated, you always need little things. Whether it's deodorant, toothpaste.
This call is now being recorded.
Esta es Global Telling. Usted tiene una llamada prepagada de
Robert.
un individuo encarcelado de la prisión estatal de Centinela, California. Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada. You have a prepaid call. You will not be charged for this call. Para aceptar esta llamada, diga o oprima ahora el 5. Gracias por utilizar Global Telling.
Hello, Robert.
Yes.
All right, so I just want to go ahead and let you know that one of our supporters here, one of our viewers that goes by Fishler SoCal, he's blessing you with $10. So whenever we're done with our call, I'll go ahead and send that over to you via the Connect app by GTO, and hopefully it'll be hitting your books in the next day or two.
Thank you, man. Hey, you know what I mean? Well, that means a lot. You know what I mean? That somebody would, want to bless me with that, and it's appreciated. And I don't know. Thank you, man.
Yeah, he's we do have it's we got a small community here, but I appreciate them. Whenever they show up, they appreciate what you're doing, what I'm doing, and I appreciate what they're doing, because at the end of the day they don't have to. But they do. Yeah. So it's highly appreciated.
Yes, it is. Thank you.
Yep. And you know, earlier on before before we the 15 minutes came to an end, you were speaking about it's not easy trying to change your mindset where everybody else they're trying to excel at getting making their bones, getting their name out there, for all the wrong reasons.
Yes.
And they would be making comments, making little remarks or whatnot. And I had mentioned before that nobody likes to be talked about, especially in a setting like that, because in prison, I'm assuming, I've never been to prison, but I'm assuming that you never want to be perceived as weak. And
Yes.
and I'm sure in a lot of people's eyes, it would it is looked upon weak, trying to change your life and not reacting to certain situations. And I'm sure it's a lot harder, when you're on the main line, because certain things are expected of you. And so this change that you were doing, it was when you were in the main line, right?
Yeah.
So what ended up happening that led you to where you're at now?
Well, like I said, to backtrack, you know what I mean? I had got caught up in the field of politics, man, and I had came across an individual who was vying for my spot, and me and this guy, so I sent a couple of the fellas on him, and he wrote some individuals, and what I mean? Come to find out, this guy had a little bit more pull than I did. And, he got the tables turned on me. And, you know what I mean? Got me.
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
So, you know what I mean? Going through the emotions, I've decided to call it quits as far as, you know what I mean? The politics sense. And, that's when I decided to cross over and, disassociate from the gang lifestyle.
And when you made that decision, did you confide in anybody, maybe like a family member, and just let them know what your thoughts were, just to get any feedback, or and did it happen gradually?
No, man. No, like when I was going through that, like, okay, so after I got posted, I didn't, make the decision to cross over right in there. I went through it, but I had the green light, so I was, kind of getting into it a few times. And when I finally did make the decision to cross over, I had no home. And, as I said before, there's no story. I mean, I come from a gang affiliated family. And, my brother, my dad, they stopped talking to me for a minute. And, even mom's was accepted, but at the same time, there was like some hesitancy, like well, what happened? Well, why did you make that decision? And just them knowing of my involvement in my name at that time, it was a shock to them, and so it wasn't so much accepted as of, well, you know what, man, hey, you're making a decision that you feel is best for you, and so it was hard, like I said, because I was shunned, and even the so-called fellas that I've known before, all the gang banging, they were quick, and it's just like, damn, like, this is blood family, and relationships that go before and should be beyond the gang lifestyle. And it's just like, when you make that decision, you see how it's a fine line between what should be taken as a sense of, okay, you know what, this dude's making a decision that he feels is best for himself, but it's just not looked upon like that.
So at that moment, that's when you realize, who is really, who's really your friend, who's willing, to stick by your decision, or not even, because sometimes it's not even friends that give you that reaction. It's your own family. So I'm pretty sure that's like, that's probably like one of the worst feelings you could feel.
Oh, it is. It is. Yeah.
And how long did it take for your dad and your brother to come around?
Well, I mean, it was, let me see. Shoot, man. Maybe like a little over a year. Just like for them, like, I mean, there would be times I would call home and they would be around and just like, hey, you know what I mean? Your son or your brother's on the phone. Do you want to say hi? And that's, oh, nah, I'm good. And you know what I mean? You would just hear the little whispers from other family members, like, when my name would be brought up. Like, it was more amongst my brother. It wasn't so much my dad making the comments, but it was more amongst my brother. Like, my brother took it the hardest, you could say, because we were both from the same neighborhood. And so, like, he was like, nah, that's not my brother. Like, my brother ain't no punk. My brother he ain't gonna do that. You know what I mean? He ain't gonna go over there. And you know what I mean? Like, not like wanting to explain it to him. Like, look, bro, like, this had nothing to do with me being a punk. Like, I knew what was gonna happen. I knew I had a hit, and I still went out to yard and went and got my issue. Like, I thought it was just gonna be the one and done, and but it wasn't. You know what I mean? It was deeper than what I thought was gonna be. Just like I said, a one and done. Okay, you fucked up, whatever. But it was a continuing thing, and so it's just like, I mean, I try to tell people or ask people, to put yourself in that position where, you're professing your loyalty to these group of guys, and you know what I mean? Like, you just, okay, you figure you get that discipline once, and it just continuing and continuing and continuing, and then it's like, I mean, how many people really want to live like that? Like, it's just not worth it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure a lot of people, they, when it comes down to it, they would have done the same thing. I think there's very few people that would actually, be willing to lose their life over it.
Yeah.
But...
Yeah, I wasn't one of them. I wasn't one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Like,
but you know
what
what
I mean? Like, and I used to tell myself, man, like, honestly, you know what I mean? Like, dealing with and now, you know what I mean? Not that it carries much weight or anything, but there is a lot of good dudes over here who, like myself, just got caught up, whether it be in politics or just that they had a habit, you know what I mean? And the rules of the land push them on this side. They're not bad dudes. You know what I mean? You do got your individuals who...
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
You do have your group of individuals who, in this world of sense, not of great character or somebody you would want to bring around your family, But it's like, I mean, not everybody on this side is a dude or the things that individuals on the other side would refer to us as, you know.
Yeah. And you know what? And I think a lot of the times, when people make these comments and they expect you to get up your life, it's like, who's gonna pay for this funeral? If something does happen, because a lot
Yep.
of people there, it's your family that's gonna have to flip the bill if they could afford it. Because, let's keep it real. A lot of our families are not, financially capable of, even sending packages, let alone, being able to pay, for a funeral for somebody that
Yep.
gets done in prison. So, you have to be realistic about, the decision when you make it. Do you want to be a burden on your family?
Mhm.
Like, like
Exactly.
so. As long as it's to me, it's like, if it's something that you could live with, then yeah, hell yeah. If you're gonna better yourself, even better.
Mhm.
Because for me, it's like, if you're gonna sit there and walk away, and then you're gonna go, to the other side, and you're gonna continue down the same path, it makes no sense.
Exactly.
But if you're gonna change your
Exactly.
life, then hell
Yeah.
yeah, that I'm for that. Like, hell, thumbs up. Thumbs up all the
Yes.
way around. That does make sense.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. No, it's very true, man. You know what I mean? To hear that from somebody who has never experienced prison. You know what I mean? That's the perfect view that a lot of us have. Is like, dude, like, she obviously, you know what I mean? You weren't cut from the same cloth that you thought you were, and your decision is your decision to be over here. But it's like, this should be like the end of the story. Like, okay, so just do your time and go home. You know, like you said, I mean, there's a lot of individuals out here who are still, trying to be into nonsense. You know what I mean? Portray themselves as something they're not. And so, for us who have actually, been involved and have lived a lifestyle, it's just like, come on, man, like, you know, you have an opportunity that most of us wish we could have, and you're fucking blowing it. You
Yep.
know,
Yep. and
you're
and I
blowing it.
I know we're about to get the announcement right now, so I don't want to just cut you off. So if you want to go ahead and give out any
Hmm.
shout outs, and then we'll go ahead and set up another interview, maybe for Thursday if you're available.
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, I got the rest of the week.
Three-way llamada.
So again, all you faithful listeners out there, you know what I mean.
Le queda un restante de 60 segundos.
You know what I mean. Again, to the individual, thank you for your contribution. It's very much appreciated. Yeah, I just hope, you know what I mean. And in due time, I'll be able to touch another subject. This year podcast. You know what I mean. I'm interested. You know what I mean. I believe in what James is trying to accomplish, and so I'm all for it. So again, thank you, listeners, and you know what I mean. It means a lot to you guys to take the out of your day, just sit here and hear what I got to say. So thank you. Give a shout out to my family. Miss you guys. I love you guys, and just know when it's all said and done. You know what I mean. I make these changes, and I strive to be better for you. And yeah, so thank you.
Oh man, you're definitely welcome, and I appreciate you coming on and sharing your parts of your journey with the audience. And I got cut off, but later on I might be having Silas coming on. I'm not exactly sure at what time. I gotta actually run out the house right now. I gotta go ahead and get my car serviced today. And like I said around here, life's like life's like a box of chocolates. Oh, so yummy. Life's like a candle. Once you blow it out, it's lights out. And with that being said, I'm out. And thank you, everybody. Thank you, Fish Lair SoCal. Appreciate the money you sent over. Also, El ICEMAN, appreciate that, and everybody else that tuned in. Let me see. We have LBCK 15. We got let me see what else do we got. We got Chubby Jessica, and who else that way? We didn't even have that many participants in the chat, and we also had Drake. Hey, well, with that being said, appreciate you guys, and be on the lookout for a stream later on. And with that, I'm out this time for reals.